value, debase the currency. Do you think that that's why some of these central banks are pushing back on Bitcoin, on cryptocurrency? Are they scared?
I really think that most central banks view it as an asset, a crypto asset. And so I think there's a narrative in the community that central banks are pushing back on it. I really don't think they are.
Hmm.
Um, if I look at all the utterances, I think Mark Carney has said on the record it's a crypto asset. Jerome Powell has said on the record it's like digital gold, it's like an asset,
Yeah, he sees it as a store of value.
a store of value. The
Right.
deputy governor of the Chinese central bank has said it's an asset. Christina Lagarde of the EU central bank has said, yeah, it's an asset. I mean, they might say it's a speculative asset, but currency is a medium of exchange, and it's the province of governments. And in order to be a currency, you have to be deemed non-taxable upon transfer. And Bitcoin is not. Bitcoin is deemed property by the IRS, and most countries deem it as property, which makes it an asset, not a currency. So I think that the way the world is evolving, we're going to see 5 billion or more people with mobile phones and mobile wallets. And in that wallet is going to be a selection of currencies and a selection of assets. And the strongest currency is the dollar. And the strongest asset is Bitcoin. And in countries like Venezuela, they're going to lose their currency privileges, and their citizens are going to default to the dollar as a medium of exchange. But the only way that you can deploy dollars as a medium of exchange to billions of people across hundreds of countries and tens of thousands of banking systems or application networks is if you have a global settlement network, which is a shared monetary protocol, and that is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is the global monetary network that allows everybody on Earth to store their economic energy over long periods of time. And it also allows everyone to synchronize those mobile wallets in Zimbabwe and Venezuela and Nigeria and India and Argentina and the US and China and the like. And so I see an emerging economy with a digital asset called Bitcoin and a digital currency, likely the dollar, but if not the dollar, perhaps the renminbi, right? And if not the Chinese currency, then perhaps the euro. At the end of the day, the winner is going to be the strongest currency, which will come from the strongest country and the strongest economic network, which will be the US. And the winning asset will be the strongest crypto asset with the greatest security and the greatest acceptance and the most stability, and that will be Bitcoin.
So is it wrong then to be calling them cryptocurrencies?
Yes, it is wrong. Most sophisticated people that have studied it realize they're crypto assets. Bitcoin is a crypto asset. It's not a cryptocurrency. It's a tragic misnomer. And because people call it a cryptocurrency, then it lends itself to a shallow criticism that it's not good as a currency because the central banks will ban it and because the tax treatment is poor and because the transaction rate is low. But again, those are all red herrings. It's not a currency, nor does it need to be a currency, right? Anybody thinking about it for even a few seconds realizes that if there's a taxable event every time I transfer it to you, it can't be a currency. So
Right.
So no, it's not a currency. It's an asset. And if you think of it as an asset, it's very helpful because then you realize it's not competing with the dollar and the euro. It's competing with gold and silver. It's competing with bearer instruments, and to a certain degree, it's competing with bonds as a store of value, and it's competing with ETFs like the S&P 500 index as a store of value. And once you understand it that way, then you're not so afraid anymore because you understand the regulatory framework that comes to Bitcoin is the same regulatory framework that comes to gold, silver, and S&P 500 indexes. It's just know your customer, anti-money laundering regulations. And if you're afraid to buy Bitcoin because you're afraid of regulation, you shouldn't be, because if it is regulated pari passu or at parity with these other assets, it will create it'll create a avalanche of institutional money flow into the asset class, because it'll simply normalize the treatment in the Western world. The IRS in 2014 deemed it to be property.
Right.
And
But I
as
mean, if they,
property, it means that when you transfer it, you owe a capital gains tax. So
Exactly.
there is like zero chance the IRS is going to reverse that. It is property. It's not a currency.
and if you